Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's start with our opening prayer. Sorry, just turn off the phone. Oh, great spirit, Father, sky, Mother, earth, the winds, the waters, my father, my mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives and we thank you for these good, good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste. Hi, everyone. Okay, so same as normal, I'm on the restreaming platform, so just pop your questions in underneath. We just came out of an epic weekend because we had the full moon, so lots of old issues coming up to be completed and resolved and let go of, lots of relationship stuff in particular being balanced. Good morning, Kate. Yeah, okay, so let's just start by clearing out that stuff. Okay, anywhere where old unresolved issues came up, anywhere where old patterns came up. Let's just start releasing all that stuff. Yes, so people with like smiley emojis and crying faces. Yep. Oh. I really noticed the theme around this full moon around the places where we're withholding love from other people and from ourselves and pretending that we don't know, right? Pretending that we're the only people in pain in our intimate relationships, in our relationship with our children, in our relationship with our clients. Really, this where are we withholding our own perspective and our own story because we think we're too spiritual to share it, and then it's stopping the other person from having a chance to create a miracle. And it was Marianne Williamson that brought this to my attention when I was doing her relationship workshop in London a few years ago. She had another couple up on the stage, and the gentleman of the couple was saying that he wanted to end the relationship, that he thought that his partner was, a perfect person. He didn't want to change her, but that the relationship just wasn't going to work because they weren't compatible. And Marianne Williamson turned around to him and said, "I bet you think that's so spiritual, right? But really what you're doing is you're withholding the information that your partner needs to be able to make a decision from a place of free will, whether or not she can meet your needs or whether or not she can't. And you're withholding you from yourself because you're not letting her meet your needs. And then you're saying that she won't, when the reality is you haven't communicated what you really need, right? So it's one of those moments where really profound spiritual bypassing going on, and the poor man didn't have a clue he was doing it. So it's the same thing. Where are you withholding from God the truth, and from your partner, and from your kids, and from your clients? Where are you withholding your part of the conversation because you think you shouldn't be having those feelings, or they're not good and they're not the right feelings to have, if that makes sense? Where are you not able to come into your relationship as you are, as well as coming to God as you are? Okay, let's have a look. Questions are starting to flood in. Sarah Burney saying, "Hi, Angel. I've developed a skill where I program my subconscious with what I want to manifest to help me with timings and motivation. What do the angels say about that? What is the progression?" Okay, so your unconscious mind works at about 44 million bits of information per second versus your conscious mind, which works at about 10 to 20 bits of information per second, right? 10 to 20 million bits of information per second. So when you're reprogramming your unconscious mind, you're beginning to understand the truth, right? That you are supposed to be in charge of your mind. You are supposed to be in charge of your emotions. You are supposed to be the king or the queen of your inner kingdom, right? So when you start mastering skills, like meditation, hypnosis, and you are learning to focus your tools, because your mind is your tool, right? And it's Marissa Peer that says it's like a wild horse. It's a very powerful wild horse that needs to be it takes quite a lot of skill to do horse whispering. It takes quite a lot of skill to make that horse trust you and work with you and lead you, and even sometimes show things about you to yourself, especially because the conscious mind is more geared towards, pleasing society or doing what other people want. And the unconscious mind is all geared towards survival, right? And towards keeping you safe and getting you what you want. So it's good when you start to program your unconscious mind to focus on what you want and to have more time, to be more organized, to listen more to your inner guidance. But it's nowhere near the power that you have when you start focusing in on the divine mind and the divine heart and what plans God has for you inside this life, right? So, because our unconscious mind is still limited to our unconscious mind. It's still based on what we think, what we believe, what our ancestors think, what's in the collective consciousness. So it's good when you start getting control of it, but it's not the only it's not where you stop. So keep going, because you go to the unconscious and the superconscious and then the divine mind, which all exist in unison and harmony. But please, 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 by all means, develop practices where you're training your mind, because if your mind is running the show, then it's going to be creating emotions and habits that don't serve you. You have to be in control of your mind and of your emotions. So keep practicing, but try and use your unconscious mind to connect you with your divinity, to the only source of real love and the only source of real power, right? Okay. Hi, Sky. I want to know why I am attracting only married men being single. What's the pattern here? When you are only attracting married men and you're single, it's because you have an unconscious fear of commitment. So you attract other people that have a fear of commitment or that would never be able to commit, because that's the only place you feel safe, right? There's often beliefs, and you can muscle test this, that if a man has committed once before, then you know that he is going to commit to you, or that that he wants a family. That's in his energy. It comes from like the belief all the good ones are taken. So you might want to muscle test that one, and then you'll attract married men, because you think that there's no good ones left, right? Unless they're married. So a lot of women have that belief, particularly after they hit the age of 25, because it used to be, ageism used to be so much stronger than it is now, in the sense of if you weren't married by the time you were 25, they thought you were an old maid, right? You'd been left on the shelf. So it's this energy of all the good ones are taken, and looking at your unconscious fears of commitment. And you have to really start to understand that a lot of these beliefs are not conscious beliefs, right? And they're often completely unavailable to you, because before you're married, before you have children, before you share a house and a home with someone, you think that you get how hard it is, but you don't, right? It's kind of like you think you understand how hard it's going to be to run a marathon. Until you're in the marathon, it doesn't quite hit you what you committed to. And a lot of people are very deeply scared that and what that means is, at the moment they face a challenge, their unconscious mind will go, I chose the wrong person, I'm in the wrong marriage, I'm not supposed to be here, as opposed to working through those challenges. But the reality is, any long-term relationship, you will face life's mountains together. You will face financial pressure, you will face family pressure, you will face pressure from your kids in the different ages and different clashes around parenting. You will face self-care issues, and also like division of labor, and how you divide sleep and chores and raising the kids and time with friends, and which can create a lot of resentment if somebody isn't pulling their weight. No different than if somebody was leaving you to do a project that you'd agreed to together completely by yourself, right? And especially because it's long term, it's over years, these little transgressions, they're cumulative, so they become very, very big. So it's looking in your unconscious mind, being afraid of misogyny, being afraid of sexism, being afraid of being abandoned, and basically being exhausted out of your mind, like being worn down. Because sometimes people hurt you by abusing you, by hitting you, by screaming at you. But sometimes it's just pure neglect. They leave you to do everything. You never have a moment to yourself. They completely ignore you, and it's very toxic stuff, but it's hard to wrap words around, because somebody were to ask you, what did they do? You say, well, they haven't really done anything, or they're absent, right? But that's the definition of neglect. So can we release your fear of commitment? We're going to call on Archangel Raguel and Archangel Shamuel. Get Archangel Jeremiah here as well. It's angel of forgiveness. Wants to help you to forgive your parents for not being able to fully commit. Oh, there we go. I'm really feeling like this collective irritation as well today in the collective consciousness. There's a self-pity energy of, why is it always me? How does it always land on my shoulders? Why do I always get stuck with this? So can we release that too, please? Because it's going to take you places you don't want to go, right? The reality is, even though adulthood has the shoes and the sex and the no other grown-ups anywhere except, your boss telling you what to do, make no mistake, it is responsibility. There we go. But there is no power without responsibility. And if you're choosing to respond with frustration, with self-pity, instead of with more decisions, right? If you're tired, you have to decide to stop watching Netflix and to get more sleep. If you are neglecting yourself, you have to decide that you are going to work out whilst the kids are watching, Pingu or whatever it is that they are watching. If you are, neglecting the way that you look, you have to decide that when you, go to bed, you're going to leave what you're going to wear out the next day, so you don't have to think about it. You have to make the time and make the space and make different decisions. There we go. If it's too much and you've got too much on your load, you have to decide that you're getting a cleaner, or that you're going to take back some time for your business by dropping the laundry off at a laundrette this week instead of doing it yourself. These are decisions. There we go. You have to choose decisions and discipline over self-pity, because your life is not going to change unless you make different decisions. And it's hard, but it's true. There we go. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Hello, lovely sky. Can you check what's the angel's advice regarding migraines I have that are worse? Much appreciated, Patricia. My love, it's perimenopause. You're going to have to look at making sure that you are taking something like Lady's Mantle to regulate, like some sort of adaptogenic herb that's going to help regulate your hormones, and that you really need to take something like sea moss or fulvic minerals to help balance you out. But it's really, really high stress that the cortisol's throwing off your hormones, and you're perimenopausal. So we're just going to call on Archangel Raphael and his band of healing angels. Just do an instant healing on you. And we're going to ask that you be guided to the right physicians, to the right doctors, to the right naturopaths that will help you with your supplements, that will help you with everything you need. Maria is saying, hi Sky, can the angels tell me please what's the root cause of my anxiety/depression and give me some healing? Will the psychiatrist and the hypnotherapist be able to help me? Feeling so overwhelmed. Okay, so let's just start by bringing in Archangel Raphael and his band of mercy. And we're just going to command an instant healing on your nervous system to help regulate it, please. Now, let's break this down, okay? Because you asked for the root cause of anxiety/depression. So anxiety and depression are the effect, okay? It's like the disease is the effect. When you want to make a disease disappear or make a mental health problem disappear, you have to work on the cause. And we are all geared to working on the effect, work on the depression, work on the anxiety, work on the disease. But the reality is, the disease, the mental health problem is the effect. Okay? The cause is the decisions that we're making, the thoughts that we're thinking, right? And the people that we are choosing. So, what I need you to ask yourself is, do you trust your hypnotherapist? Like, completely, unequivocally. If something horrific happened to you tomorrow, would you feel okay telling her or him? And if the answer is no, then you need to find a hypnotherapist that you trust and that is really good at what they do. Because one of the things that we do when we think nobody can help us is we choose therapists who cannot help us, right? We choose doctors who cannot help us. So that's the first thing you have to ask yourself is this somebody that I would feel completely comfortable if I had to stand naked in front of? And I'm not talking about seducing them. I'm talking about emotionally naked and potentially physically naked, like when a doctor does an exam, because that's what it was going to take to heal and get to the root of your anxiety. You're going to have to share some of your deepest memories, and you're going to have to understand the lies you've been telling yourself for years. Like, I am not powerful, like nothing good ever happens to me, like I have no future, like I'm worthless. These are really strong lies that have been running the show for a very long time. So if you're going to go for them, you have to go for them with someone that you trust. And why is that important? Because what you are learning from a therapist is how to think the way that they think, how to move the way that they move when you face these internal challenges, right? So if you don't trust them, then you're not going to copy them. And you are relying on your unconscious mind to go into hypnosis when they go into hypnosis, because that's how you hypnotize a client, is that they go into hypnosis when you're in hypnosis. Their mind literally follows you into trance and it entrains to you. And you have to be willing to get very, very real and to talk about things that you thought have nothing to do with it. I'll give you an example. I was with my hypnotherapist for my session on Friday, and I thought I was going to be working on a memory to do with birth trauma around my son being born during COVID. And I ended up working on a completely different sexual trauma that I experienced in my teens. Wasn't expecting it. I wasn't ready for it. It completely blindsided me, but it was at the root of so much of my mummy guilt, which is what I was resolving. Now, that would never have happened if I didn't trust my hypnotherapist, because my unconscious mind would not have gone there. It didn't even trust me enough to go there, but it trusted her. Right? So you have to get a psychotherapist or a hypnotherapist that you really, 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 really trust. The other thing I would say is I wouldn't mix the two. Psychotherapy is very different than hypnotherapy. So I would do one for like 3 months or the other for like 3 months, but they both work, but they're very different paths. And that's another way that people sabotage their healing. So they both work, but they're very different paths. So they will conflict with each other, because a psychotherapist will be working with your conscious mind to unpack and break down the memories that you had, whereas a hypnotist is working with your unconscious mind to dissolve the feelings and the meanings that you gave to those memories. And one can directly conflict with the other. So I would choose one or the other and then walk that path for 3 months. And I would choose to work with a person that you really, really trust, that you really, really believe knows their stuff, right? And that you would recommend if it was your best friend, or if it was your child, or if it was your partner, and you'd say, this is the person that I want them to work with, right? So let's just take a moment. We're going to bring in Archangel Michael to just cut the cords of sabotaging ourselves by choosing someone we know can't really help us, right? And making a lot of rational excuses, like they're cheaper, or they're the only person that'll put up with me. Instead of actually choosing someone that you know is going to get to this and get it sorted now. There we go. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Ma'am, no matter how much I work out or exercise, I can never seem to get the shape or form I like. May I have a healing for this? You can have a healing, but I'm going to tell you a secret. It's not about the exercise, it's about what you eat. 90% of what the way your body looks, 90% is what you eat. It's not what you do in the gym. Sorry to break it to you. I've been an athlete my whole life, and bodies are made in the kitchen, not the gym. The gym can help, but you won't be able to see any of the hard work that you put in. You won't be able to build any of the muscle that you want to build unless you're putting the correct nutrition inside your body. Point blank, period. So bodies are made in the kitchen. They're not made in the gym. You can work out every single day and still not be able to get rid of the weight and still not have the perfect body because the kitchen is out of control. So we're actually doing emotional eating as a challenge. So you're appropriately timed with your beautiful question. I'm going to bring in Archangel Raphael to just start cutting off and cutting the cords to the ways in which you're using food, right, to hide emotions, to stuff down emotions, to not deal with emotions that you feel are out of control. So when we feel out of control on the inside, we often create food addictions or drug addictions or exercise addictions instead of dealing with the feeling we think is out of control. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Dear Sky, I've been experiencing a lump in, I'm going to say tough because it says through, in tough sensations for some time. What can be the cause of it? Many thanks, Gabriella. Okay, I'm just going to do a scan. Okay, so they're literally showing me it's trapped, like lots of trapped, jumbled up emotions because you're around a lot of people who you can't share what you really think or what you really believe with. So you're constantly holding back, and that's what's creating this lump and this feeling of um like there's a real sadness of not being able to be who you are, of not being able to share what you really think. And it's like, is it really always going to be like this? Is this really my life? I thought my life would be so different by now. As real anger at the way things are. So we're back. This is a really strong theme with this full moon. We're back to this really deep unconscious learned helplessness, this really deep belief that we cannot change our life, that we cannot make a difference, that it's not in our court, that there's something wrong with life, right? There's something wrong with God. There's something wrong with the people around us, instead of going, I'm making choices that are not good, right? Why am I working somewhere that I hate? Why am I hanging out with people that don't really like me for who I am? Why am I making these choices over and over again? Why do I believe that I need to do this? Right? And it always comes back to, I believe I can't provide for myself. I believe I can't change my life financially. I believe it will always be this way. So whenever you look at beliefs like this, it's Anthony Robbins that really crushed this for me when I was doing his UPW years ago. And this is actually an NLP technique. So I was taught it as well when I was doing my hypnosis with my advanced diploma in counseling and psychotherapy. So whenever you have an area of your life that seems to remain unchanging or unmoving, there's always three beliefs. You believe it's permanent, you believe it's personal, and you believe it's pervasive. So permanent means, like I said, it's not going to change, right? It's just the way that it is. So you have to accept it, and you can't do anything about it except have feelings like frustration, anger, but there's no action that you could take that would make a difference. Pervasive, you believe it affects and destroys every single area of your life. Like if you're not happy at work, then it destroys your relationships with your kids, with your best friend, with your partner, which is not true, right? You can be very unhappy in one area and very happy in another area of your life. But all of us, when we're stuck, believe it's pervasive, right? Another one that it's personal, and this is where we're addressing with the self-pity today in depth, is that we think our suffering is personal, that nobody has suffered as much as we have. And that means that nobody can understand us. And this is the belief that normally leads us to attract bad therapists, bad swaps, um, and also leads us to have no compassion for ourselves as well, right? Because if you can't understand your own suffering, then you're definitely not going to have compassion for yourself and for what you've gone through or for what you're going through. And the law of compassion, the law of grace, the law of love, these are the energetic forces which have the capacity to change the energy which you're in. So if you're withholding compassion from yourself, then guess what? The other people in your life will not be able to have compassion for you. If you're withholding understanding from yourself, then other people in your life will come across like they do not understand you. Everything is a mirror of our relationship with ourselves and our relationship with God, right? So when we're looking at this lump, it's like this real deeply ingrained learned helplessness of, it's permanent, there's nothing I can do, I just have to accept it. And I suffer more than everyone else and nobody gets what I'm going through. And the reality is that, like, I love my work. I absolutely love being a medical intuitive. I love talking to the angels and doing the angels readings for you. But if you look at the background, there are many times, particularly since having my son, where I have had to show up to work or do events, when I was absolutely exhausted. And if I'd been in that mindset, if I'd allowed those 3 Ps to get to me, I would have not just sabotaged my entire career, but I would have really hurt him as his mother. Right before I had to do Glastonbury Symposium, he was having some kind of a tummy bug, and I spent the whole night covered in vomit, and I had to literally have a shower, get dressed after a night of no sleep, and then get on a stage in front of like 300, 400 people. And I had to not just do it, I had to do it with love, I had to do it with energy, I had to do it with compassion. So there are many times where the ego, we think our egos are like really special, but they're not. The suffering always comes in the same way, and you have to learn, you have to get, this is where the hypnosis comes in, that Sarah was asking about at the beginning. This is where you have to hypnotize yourself into divine love. You have to get into a place where you understand that much as I had a hard night the night before, there will be at least 10 to 20% of the audience who are probably more realistically, especially in Britain to America, 30 to 40% of the audience that will have chronic illnesses, that will be struggling with physical pain 24 hours a day. There will be other people there who have just as much excuse or reason for not showing up as I do, right? But that need God's help more than I ever will. So it's that energy of you have to talk back to the places where you're stuck in permanent, personal, and affects every single area, and you have to manage your state. And that's a skill. It's a real skill. But life is not going to stop having challenges anytime soon. And that's where the angels help you. They help you create the shift in perspective, right? So let's just work on this lump made up of it's personal, it's permanent, and it's pervasive. And I want to just say out loud, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. It's not personal. Everybody goes through tough stuff. It's not permanent. The ultimate law of the universe is that everything changes. It's not pervasive. It's one area of my life that I can't really share with everybody. And I can change that. But you have to talk back, because if you believe that the lies are truth, you get stuck. So say the same thing to the lump again. It's a lie. It's not personal. Right? Everybody goes through hard stuff. It's not permanent. The ultimate law of the universe is change. It's not pervasive. It's one area of my life or 2 areas of my life. I am so much bigger than this. There we go. Just that's what I do. I literally look at illusions and I go, it's not true. It's not real. And that pulls your energy back. It pulls your power back. There we go. Another thing that's absolutely essential to understand, and that it was Course in Miracles and Marianne Williamson that taught me, is that we don't just underestimate our light. right? We're not just sitting there going, oh, maybe my gifts aren't amazing enough. We also underestimate our darkness. So the reason I'm so passionate and even inside my own mind about these beliefs and about guarding my consciousness, right? And about calling out the lies that my fear mind is trying to suck me into is because I understand that I'm underestimating my darkness. And I know how many years believing those thoughts has delayed me already. I know how much it's cost me. If I look at how much believing in my fear has cost me, it has made me leave millions on the table. It has made me destroy perfectly good books, perfectly good programs that never saw the light of day because I didn't have self esteem. It has made me not like pull back in areas where I needed to be strong as a wife or as a mother or as a friend. So it's really, really important that you get that your fear mind is not just out to inconvenience you, it is actually out to kill you. And I know that sounds absolutely insane, but stay with me a moment. Think about an alcoholic that thinks that, that alcohol is just a little bit of an inconvenience or, out to make it hungover or giving it a banging headache. If you don't deal with that alcoholism, your years are coming off your life. Same thing with smoking, same things with same thing with being overweight, right? Your ego is that it pretends to be an inconvenience when actually it's deadly. So we don't just underestimate our light and our greatness, we underestimate our darkness and its potential for harm. Right. So it's important to get really passionate about clearing up the places where you're indulging the darkness, where you're indulging the pity and calling it self care. There is nothing self care, right, about wallowing in pain. It is the opposite of self care. It is harmful, deeply, profoundly harmful. So, can we show you the difference between self care, honesty, and authenticity, and choosing to stay in pain? Because there's a difference. One is you are feeling your feelings and they are passing through you as you release them and you let them transform you. And the other is you are holding on to them and justifying keeping them close. And people say, like, people nurture their grudges, right? There we go. It's not just grudges, it's the depression, it's the anxiety, it's the excuses, the procrastination. We nurse them. There we go. Ooh, letting it all go so that you can be free. Okay, that's looking a lot better, Gabriella. Hi, Sky. How can I let go of the money blocks? Thank you. Okay, so how can you let go of the money blocks? Let me do a scan. Archangel Shamuel's already coming in quite strong here. Okay, so there's two things that he said straight away. One is that he said you're going to have to let go of the excuses, and the other one that he's saying is this is about perfectionism wound. So there's a part of you that believes that unless you are perfect, unless everything is perfectly done, then you can't show it to other people because you're so afraid of rejection, and you can't make money from things or you can't sell them. It's a deep perfectionism wound. So can we start to heal this perfectionism wound, please? And can creators show you the truth that whilst you are out there trying to make everything that you're doing perfect, there are other people a lot less talented than you who already started, they're already taking action. And that perfection doesn't guarantee, actually isn't, there is no, it doesn't stop rejection. Perfection never stopped rejection. I want you to say that to yourself out loud. Perfection never stops rejection. You could be perfect, right? Think about people like, Taylor Swift or Selena Gomez or Vianna Stibel or Doreen Virtue or Marianne Williamson, or think of people that have achieved things far beyond what most people will ever achieve in their lifetime. And think about the amount of rejection that these people face, right? Where you are going, rejection is part of the journey. So you have to learn to do your divine guidance and do yourself and let the rest go. You have to learn that. Okay. Is there anything blocking me from manifesting at the fullest? I have felt very in alignment lately, but I'd love a scan. Thank you. P.S. I got my course in miracles book today. I can't wait to start. Oh, I remember I think I have 3 Course in Miracles books now, but I remember my first one. It's such an exciting time. It's such an amazing thing, and right before Christmas as well. Okay, so when I'm scanning you, I'm actually getting a big cherubim coming through, giant lion with wings, and I'm hearing the words courage, like courage, and your life expands or contracts in direct proportion to the level of courage that you have. So we're going to meditate on courage today. Courage meaning the strength of the heart to do whatever it takes to create God's love on earth. There we go. Ooh. Okay. Aksha saying, hi Sky, hope you're keeping well. Would you please scan me and guide me further on my future with my business? And how can I manage it whilst I'm growing in my professional career as well? Oh, okay. So immediately I'm getting your angels going, um, yeah, conflicting priorities. So I and then I saw like a book on project management flashing up. You you can't do both. That's the reality. You can do both if you make one not a priority. So let's say you decide that your career is a priority and then your business comes second, that works. Or you decide your business is first and your career is not a priority, that works. But if you put them in competition, you'll sabotage both, not just one. So you can have it all, but not at the same time, because the amount of energy it takes to manifest and to show up for the success that you want, um, I would say it's at least three to 4 hours a day. And that is how much the average human can work in a day, 3 to 4 hours a day. You can go through the motions, you can do more, but all the studies say humans are not productive after 3 to 4 hours of work a day, right? So this is what we were talking about at the very beginning with this theme, with this full moon that is clearing the collective consciousnesses, decisions, right? You want to decide to focus on the future that's going to bring you the biggest revenue, the biggest investment, the biggest prosperity, as opposed to focusing on the future that you think is safe. So, what if I were you, and what the angels are showing me is I would make your business the priority, and I would put work down to 1 or 2 days a week, or down to 3 days a week, go part-time. I wouldn't say give up your job, but you need to make space for your business. Otherwise it gets to a certain level and that's it, because you can't get more clients, you can't get more, give more time to creating what you need, unless you're doing something like trading, or even then you still have to learn how to do it. You still have to invest in your education. You still have to really watch what's going on. So I would really read a book on project management and on priorities. And it's exactly the same with health. So I get so many people sabotage their health because they come to me and they go, I want to do herbs and I want to do homeopathy. And it's like, well, they will clash with each other. Same thing as if you want to do chemotherapy and you want to do herbs. There are certain herbs that will sabotage the chemotherapy, and chemotherapy will kill most of the active ingredients that work inside most herbs. So it's but like someone taking antibiotics and probiotics at the same time. You have to make a choice. You can't get around risks in life by simply refusing to make a choice, or burning out by giving everything all of your time, right? So can we bring in Archangel Michael to help you find the courage to take risks? Okay. And Amy's saying, hi, Sky. Could you give me advice from my angels regarding relationships and wealth? Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so when I'm scanning you, I'm actually getting Archangel Gabriel coming in and then really showing me that you need to work on your feminine energy and increase your capacity to receive, right? Because it's like your whole career is driven. It's like I'm going to keep working until I meet the man of my dreams, and then I'm going to stop and do the family thing. And that's what's going on an unconscious level. I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but that's what I'm picking up. And there's this real belief that you're not allowed to want to be the girl. You're not allowed to want to be taken care of or to have a family or to be financially provided for. And then it's blocking both. So you need to work on this wound, this belief that men are not reliable and that women should never rely financially on a man. I want you to take a moment, everybody, just think about how ridiculous this is for a second, right? Most of you in full-time employment are relying on a man, because most bosses are men, to pay your salary every single month. There's absolutely nothing insane. It's no different than any other job. Okay? It's no different. People are like, oh, what if you get divorced? What if it's like, well, what if you lose your job? You're gonna have to find another one, right? You're gonna have to apply for another one. But you don't never get a job or never get a salary because you're afraid that you might lose your job. And you don't never get married and never financially depend on someone because you're afraid you might get a divorce. It then creates the situation that you're afraid of. So can we release this really bad advice that most women were given to never financially rely on a man? And can we show you the truth that you can get a financial education and you can create financial freedom, but you still have to learn to trust other human beings and to receive, and that no amount of money in the bank will create the safety that being able to choose a partner that loves you in return will create. Okay. Oh, there we go. Barbara Perez saying, hi Sky, happy holidays and much love. May I receive an angel message and blessings for the new year? Thank you. I'm immediately getting your angels saying thank you to you. They're really happy with you and they're really proud of you. And they're saying that you've been going from strength to strength. They're also showing me that it's like there's still this really deep I'm not enough space that you need to work on. And that's what they would focus on this year, this real energy of I am a spiritual master. I am a spiritual teacher. I am ready. This shift in identity. So when we do quantum jumping, talked about the shift in identity, right? The shift in identity from I am a student to I am a teacher, from my business is a hobby to I am an entrepreneur. The shift from I'm trying to eat healthy to I am an athlete. You will create the habits in your life much easier if you shift your identity first. If you shift your identity, your unconscious mind will do everything to align your behavior with your new identity, because your unconscious mind needs your identity to be consistent. It needs your identity to be consistent with who you really are. So instead of trying to change your habits, one of the most powerful things you can do is change your identity, because then your habits will follow, right? Let me give you an example. If you believe, if you start to change, if you change your identity from I'm a bad person to I am a good person, everything changes. If you change your identity from I am weak to I am strong, everything changes. So there are certain thoughts like I'm an athlete, I'm a spiritual teacher, I'm strong, I am happy. Like there's some people that just believe I'm a happy person. That's part of their identity. Then the habits in your life will follow your identity. Your habits follow your identity, not the other way around, right? Your identity is more powerful than your habits and your emotions will ever be. Your whole psyche is created around personalities or identities. So if you want to shift your habits, shift your identity, and your habits will follow. Okay. So one of the most powerful things that you can do with quantum jumping, but shift from I'm the student to I'm the teacher, shift from I'm trying to eat healthy or I'm on a diet to I'm an athlete. Watch what happens. Shift from I'm weak to I am strong. Shift from I'm disconnected to I am one with God. See how quickly things follow. But you have to believe, right? Really believe that that is who you are now. You are connected with God. You are a spiritual teacher. You are an athlete. You um, are a good person. You have to really focus on making that identity shift real. Okay, can you please ask the angels for advice concerning my youngest daughter and what she needs from me? Okay, let me do a quick scan. Okay, so they're immediately showing me that she's sensitive, and that she just needs to be herself. Like most parents will let you do anything except be yourself, right? She needs to be allowed to be herself. Like there's a real feeling of spending all of her time doing things for school or for academia and no time for what she loves, no time for what she wants. So it's this energy of I need to be loved for being me. So anywhere where you're afraid that you're going to be a bad parent if you parent her differently. Can we show you that we are different parents to different children because they're different people? Okay, it's looking quite a bit better. I'm going to call an Archangel Raphael so we get an Archangel Michael as well, just to resolve this power struggle you two have got going on. And it's about power versus force. So whenever you're dealing with a person, whether it's a child or a client or a student, it's 1,000 times better to bring them the emotional intelligence required for them to change from the inside out than it is to force them to go through the motions, right? So books like Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown that really explain in depth emotions, the power of vulnerability, um, you know, books that will teach her how to be financially free, books that will teach her how to take responsibility, for the tone of voice and the decisions that she makes and the conversations that she has, um, and watching TED Talks and things together as a family, and then having conversations about things like this, doing trainings together as a family, like me and my husband going to Course in Miracles with Marianne Williamson together, or going to the Anthony Robbins programs, or creating a shared vocabulary where you can discuss the toughest issues in life is such an important thing, because a lot of the time families don't have a shared vocabulary, particularly parents and children, because they are from different generations, do not have a shared vocabulary. And it makes it impossible, because you're saying vulnerability and she thinks you mean one thing, and you actually mean something else because you were in a training that she wasn't in. So it's changing the way that you're communicating. And it's something that I found has helped a lot with my husband, with my stepkids, with my parents, is creating a shared vocabulary and saying, we're making some family time every week. We're going to watch this stuff together. We're going to study this stuff together. We're going to grow together. We're going to discuss it together, because what we're doing now isn't working and I can't fix it alone, right? We have to do this together. We're in this together. And also, especially when it comes to children, I wouldn't just say children, I say families, no inclusion, no commitment. So if you include them in making the house rules, if you sit everybody down at the table and you go, what do you think the house rules should be? Right? I've noticed that everyone's unhappy, everyone's frustrated, the energy of the house isn't good. How do you think we could fix it? What rules should we put in place so that we can have at least a peaceful home, so that everybody can feel like they have their space? And then everybody does like a massive brain dump, and from that you pick the best rules, right? But you need to include people in the process. It can't be you forcing your beliefs on top. It has to be included. What do you think? That's how a home instead of a house, right? That's how a community instead of roommates. So let's show you that it's safe to include people in the rules in the house, and what do they think is fair? What do they think is real? And also transparency. So for example, I'll give you an example. When I was younger, I used to think that I'd really help my mom if I'd empty the dishwasher and I'd done some laundry, or I'd help with some ironing, or I'd done the dusting, right? But the reality is that the dishwasher needs to be emptied 3 to 4 times a day. That the house needs to be dusted once every single week. That the kitchen needs to be cleaned 3 or 4 times a day. The laundry needs to be done 2 or 3 times a day. What's it called? Some things need to be cleaned every time that they're dirty, like the bathroom mirror or the sink or things like that. And my mom never knew how to have that conversation with any of us. But when you're having those conversations with kids about chores, it's not just saying your chore is to take the bin out, or your chore is to clean this, or your chore is to clean that. It's to say that this is the work that needs to be done, right? For the house to stay clean, the laundry needs to be done 2 or 3 times a day. The what's it called? The dishwasher needs to be emptied 3 times a day. The kitchen needs to be wiped over after breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then delegating that, as opposed to someone's in charge of the kitchen, someone's in charge of the laundry. It's not just the work they're in charge of, it's how much work they're in charge of getting done and who is in charge of it, because you can't recognize or validate until you understand how much you're asking for. Okay, so can we release this lack of clarity around support, around delegation, around creation of rules? And this is very useful for some of you in team meetings as well. Some of you are really struggling to create good team meetings because you're not being clear about, and I used to do this all the time, how much work is involved, exactly who is in charge of that work, and how long it's supposed to take, right? So instead of saying, oh, this person's in charge of writing an email sequence, you have to say, okay, you're in charge of writing 5 emails, uploading onto the server for these dates, boom, 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 boom. It should take 3 hours. Here you go. As opposed to you giving them, say that you're in charge of these emails. They don't know how many emails. They don't know that they're supposed to upload it, and they don't know that you expect to have it done in 3 hours. And then 3 days later, it's not done. They wrote the emails, but they didn't upload them. And you're wondering, oh my God, why do I have to do everything myself? Right? So projects, not just for children, for team members in businesses, what exactly needs to be done, how long is it going to take, and what exactly is involved inside the project, like all aspects of it, instead of just you're in charge of this, but no clarity around exactly what they're in charge of. Okay. Hi, Sky. I take on people's emotions too much. How can I be more professional by helping others? Okay, let me do a scan. Okay, Archangel Ariel coming in here super strong. So she's the angel that works the most with clairsentience, and she's also the angel of the ocean. So she wants to help you manage these emotions. And I'm being shown it comes from childhood trauma, my love. It comes from being raised in an environment where you were taught that your emotions didn't matter and your survival depended on knowing how other people were feeling and being able to keep them happy. So it's really this, I would say, golden child combined with invisible child. And those are the two inner healings you have to do: golden child and invisible child healing, so that you can be free. Okay. Please, I need a miracle. I was booking tickets home for Christmas, but the wrong way. I booked tickets home for Christmas, but the wrong way, and now they're too expensive to change. I'm barely holding end to end with money. It's hard to do my current day job, and now I'm thinking it's not meant to be spend Christmas with my family. Am I meant to stay in the UK? Let me ask the angels. Okay, so I'm getting Archangel Jeremiah in, who's the angel of forgiveness, and immediately he's showing me that there is some unacknowledged anger that you have towards your family. So can we just start by vacuuming that anger? Any part of you that doesn't want to spend Christmas with your family, can we release that? Any part of you that's angry at them for not supporting you more financially, can we release that? Yeah, my love, I'm really getting a strong energy of I just want to have some fun. I just want to have some time for myself. That's what I'm picking up. And there's like guilt around it. So if you want to go home, we're going to have to clear this up. But do you really want to go home? That's what the angels are asking me. Do you really want to go home, or is this like a guilt trip home? There we go. Let's clear that up. Some of you don't know how to enjoy going home. Can we give a creator's perspective, definition, understanding of enjoying going home? That you're allowed to enjoy the holidays with your family. And that you're allowed to take time for yourself. To make time for yourself. Okay. Last one. Hi, Sky. Could you please help me with my coccyx pain? I started drinking painkillers. Many thanks. So, this is guilt around sexual pleasure, my love. Can we release all your anger at wanting to be sexually satisfied, at wanting to be in healthy sexual relationships, at needing to have a healthy sex life? Because it's hidden way down there. And the guilt of wanting a good sexual connection is really causing you pain. There we go. You can ask for instant healing on your coccyx. Okay, so the other thing I would say is don't ever drink painkillers. Okay, it won't work with nerve pain anyway. You need to switch to substances, and there are substances like CBD which target nerves instead of that just try to numb the area. But especially with back pain, one of the biggest reasons for long-term chronic back pain is that the back has actually become infected, or there's an undiagnosed infection. So if you've been in back pain for longer than 6 weeks and it's not going away, you need to ask your doctor to test for an infection. And they're going to put up a fuss because you have to, like, you have to put a needle or a catheter in, in your back and things like that. But at the end of the day, you can't live with an infection long term. It's going to be pain for a very long time, and painkillers won't resolve it. There we go. And back infections are particularly common in the lower spine because they're so close to the gut and the colon. So it's very easy for the pathogens to get in if the muscle's torn or if the nerves are exposed. So it's okay to ask the doctor and to actually make sure you get the right diagnosis. It's not always inflammation. There we go. Okay, one more. Okay, last one. Hi, Sky. I'm feeling some confusion internally relating to a recent breakdown in communication in an intimate relationship. I feel I'm doing my best to stay with my own process and all that is being seen related to my own patterns and where I'm pinching myself off from divine love. And I'm also feeling truly aware and compassionate to the process of the other. Yet I feel I don't know if I should remain open to this working out with time and space being the remedy, or if I should close this door to protect myself. I don't know if I'm under unrealistic illusions regarding our dynamic and connection. So, my love, I'm immediately getting the romance angels like showing me that you need to close this door. This sometimes sometimes people are spiritually manipulative, and men in particular are amazing. I'm going to take that back. People can be amazing at using spiritual excuses for avoiding loving each other. It's like, well, I'm working on this issue and I can't be with you whilst I'm working this out. Bullshit. Somebody can if I couldn't be with my husband whilst I was working out my issues, the only place that that's true is if there was domestic violence going on, right? So or if I was working through some severe, childhood trauma, it's really, really rare that you don't actually need your core team or family around you when you're working out your hardest stuff, because you need support when you are in therapy, when you are working through stuff. So I'm getting really strong red flag going, this is like it's like an excuse being used to keep you going, and it's not about what they're going through or not going through, it's about their decision to go through it alone, right? As opposed to going through it with you or including you in the process, which your angels are showing me you're more than willing to do. I think you're picking up that you're being manipulated, because you are, my darling. So let's just call on Archangel Michael, and who knows, right? Once we cut the cords and you close the door, it might change, because sometimes when people realize you're not messing around, then they stop messing around and they make better decisions. Okay. Okay, so I have something super exciting to share with you today. We have a competition. So we are giving away a few places on Medical Intuitive as a scholarship, and we're doing it as part of a competition. So underneath this post, I am going to put some copy in a reel for you to share to your page with the instructions of how to enter the competition. And you just have to follow the instructions and email info@SkylarAchemesis to be entered into the competition. Okay, but you're entering into the competition to win a free place on Medical Intuitive as a scholarship. You can, and I mean it, you can um, still enter if you've already paid, if you've already signed up. It doesn't matter. I will enter all the names into the hat. We're going to pull out the winners on the 21st of December. Okay, we're going to pull out the winners on the 21st of December. So I'm going to pop the terms for entering the competition underneath this post, and I'll put it on again from 4 until 5. And every time, like once you've done it, email us or DM me that you've done or followed the instructions, and then we will enter your name into the competition, and we will announce the winners of the scholarship on the 21st of December, which is our close cart. Okay, but I'll put the exact instructions. Let me just grab them here. Okay, wrong one. Okay. About to copy and paste it underneath. Okay. Perfect. Let's do our closing prayer and I'll pop the competition on again at the end. If you're confused, just email info@skylaracamises.com, okay? And we will send you the exact same thing and talk you through the process. It's super simple. We gave this competition a bit earlier to the people on the Quantum Jumping Masterclass, so they're already in there and they're a bit ahead of everybody else, but it's fair because they were on the masterclass and everybody else wasn't, okay? But if you follow this, then we'll put your name into the hat and I will draw it and we'll let you know who wins the scholarships on 21st of December. Let's do our closing prayer. O Great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste.